I'm Henry. This is my wife, Jeanne.
Hi, and we've been at Anthem almost 15 years now.
Our journey with Anthem was as an outgrowth of the things we had been doing. We've been involved in small groups for over 50 years. And we found ourselves in a place where we were in transition, much like many of the people on our current Sunday mornings.
Community groups have been really important to me and us because we started out in community groups and learned that there's safety in small groups and there's more, you get to know people better at a deeper level.
So we were looking for a congregation to join in worship. So we were invited by friends to come to the evening service. And what we soon learned is that we were the oldest people in the room, and many of the practices were quite stretching.
We just saw a lot of excitement in the young people and recognized that there were very few older people there. And we felt kind of like called to be kind of spiritual parents in the situation with the kids, and started inviting them over or out for coffee and getting to know them and actually focusing on them more than ourselves during that time, and ways to encourage them, maybe mentor them, hear their stories. There's a lot of sad stories, but with God, there's a lot of hope.
For me personally, my faith has grown when it was somewhat of a clash of cultures between us and the next generation. Initially, I would get frustrated by, what are these kids doing with their cell phones during the middle of a service? Well, it turns out that's their Bibles. And I learned I had a lot to learn from other generations. So the growth has been to value and celebrate the differences.
I was especially challenged by just their transparency and vulnerability and openness in just sharing who they are, which is not typical of our generation. So really appreciated that. Helped me to become more like that in groups and in one-on-one conversations. Something that shaped me at Anthem was the opportunity to go on a mission trip. It was my first mission trip, and it was to Ethiopia to minister to widows and orphans and the poor, to lepers. So it was really eye-opening, and it was just broadened my view of the world.
What shaped me was early on, this group of boarders and young folks were merging with a larger congregation, and we had a meeting of leadership, and Chris invited me to join that. It became obvious that, not obvious, but a possibility that this older congregation could actually embrace this young pastor and these kids, so to speak, together. So that meeting had two versions. One was the initial question. We came back a week later, and the Holy Spirit moved in such a powerful way. People were weeping at what God was doing. And that just shaped, we think we can do stuff that's different. The gospel, we've learned, is not complex. It's pretty simple. Love God, love your neighbor, and make disciples. We add a lot to that, but the opportunities to be in the community, to be closer to the congregation, have been just ways to just cement what God is doing in our lives. So we're thankful for that. A prayer for the younger guys and gals is we don't bite. What I've learned is that when the kids leave home and the dog dies, the phone stops ringing. And we want to be relevant. We want to be present. We want to be there. And I think that prayer is pretty universal. We want to be useful to the Master, as Paul writes to Timothy.
I would really pray and hope for greater unity amongst all believers, and just in our city and county right now, because that's where we live. It's harder to think about it with the world, even though through our prayers we can still pray for that across the world. But right now, here, now this is where we're at. And so being open and loving toward others' practices of faith in our city.